Before we begin the video, it's come to my attention that there were some offensive comments that I made about the Boulet brothers in my last review that I need to address. I'd also like to comment on the fact that they don't have any padding on at all, not even boobs, no corset, no pads, no necklace. They look crazy. They look crazy. And Big Boulet's wig looks fine, but Little Boulet's wig literally looks like cotton candy. Someone left a comment telling me that comments like the ones I made about the Boulets are why drag, specifically in the US, is so boring. Because of people like me that want drag to follow strict rules, and to the person that left that comment, I say, okay, it's my right to look at ugly things and call them ugly just as much as it's your right to look at ugly things and call them beautiful, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder even when the beholder is wrong. Also, the Boulets obviously think that pads and corsets look better on them, and you know how I know that? Because this is the one and only episode that I have seen in 2 seasons of this show where they haven't had on pads and corsets. And in addition, if I could say, the Boulets don't exactly give androgynous. That's not really their drag aesthetic. I would understand if the Boulets were more gender fluid in their presentation if they didn't corset or pad or tuck. It still wouldn't make sense why the wigs were so ugly, but it would make more sense. The issue is that the Boulets go for a very specific idea of female illusion, a very specific concept of what a woman looks like. So when you try to sell that idea without pads, corsets, or tucking, I will not buy it. And it's not because women can't look this way or that way, it's because if you try to look like a very specific type of woman and miss the mark, then you missed the mark. At the end of the day, all drag is valid, and I'm just an aggressive bottom that likes to complain. No one should be taking my opinion seriously. This is just a dumb review series of a silly drag show. I'm not lobbying the government to dismantle alternative drag, I just think corsets and pads look nice. Cancel me. And now, with all that said, we can finally start the video. Hi, my name's your mother, this is my YouTube channel, and today we're reviewing episode 7 of season 2 of the Boulet Brothers Dragula, and I can't wait to have more people complain about my complaints. Before we start, remember if you want to see my reviews of episodes 8 and 9, go to the Patreon and get access to exclusive reviews of not just this show, but other shows as well. Now on to the video. They open the episode with another god-awful f***ing skit that was scat, and it was a whole f***ing 5 minutes f***ing long. I would have skipped through it like I usually do, but I wanted to see how long they would push this nonsense, and the answer was way too f***ing long. And what's that on their chest? Is that boobs? Do the Boulets have on tiggle bitties? Ugh, well, would you look at that. We then move on to the final girls talking about what the competition has been like for them, but what I want to talk about is how Abhora looks. She looks like the Crypt Keeper's concubine, which is a great idea for a floor show. But anyway, Abhora looks terrible, and it's even funnier because everyone else looks amazing, all fresh-faced and pink-lipped, and then there's just a human-shaped piece of lint behind them. The ghouls start talking about Disasterina and how she was eliminated in the last episode, and Abhora says it's so weird how one person not being in the room makes this feel so much more elevated. And I gotta wonder who the f she thinks she's talking about, because it can't be Disasterina. I know Abhora, the girl who dressed up as a fucking chicken for the alien challenge, isn't saying that Disasterina was dragging down the competition. I'd also be so fucking pissed if after I got sent home I had to watch the ugly bitch they kept over me say that the competition is better without me. And you wanna know what? Maybe without Disasterina the competition was better for Abhora, because usually less pretty bitches puts the ugly bitches at ease. Oh, and I got another comment from someone else saying I needed to explain myself more when I'm talking about people that I hate, so the reason I hate Abhora is because she gets on my nerves. Moving on.
Good morning, uglies!
The Boulet brothers explain that this week's challenge is Wasteland Weekend, so they have to go to a desert festival, create post-apocalyptic looks, and choreograph a group number for the floor shoe.
I don't know what Wasteland Weekend is.
This episode is a lot of the girls moving from one area to another, talking about the same shit, but that's okay, because that means I get to talk about the same shit, because Abhora still looks crazy. She looks like a 56-year-old, 17-year-old, and that's unfortunate for someone who's most likely neither of those ages. She also kinda looks like Billy from that one episode of American Dad. Just give her a paper bag filled with crap to huff on and she would do a fierce cosplay. The girls all jump into an SUV to go to the desert, and on the way they have a conversation that I was way too sober for.
Live out that job, you retire, and that's the American dream. But where's the actual dream in that?
Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because it's not true ever.
You gotta hustle, you gotta make your own opportunities, you have to.
It's all about the power of one, the power of the law of attraction, how you feel about who you are and what you want to do and what you want to accomplish.
Hopefully you see what I mean. The comments being made are not smarter than a 6th grader. Also, this may seem off topic, but it's moments like this that remind me that more than half of the US reads at below a 6th grade level. Most people you meet and talk to every day don't read that well, and chances are, if you're watching this and you're an American, you probably don't read that well. People's ability to read affects their ability to express themselves with words, and I can tell by the way these girls talk that they read with their fingers. And also, I could just be flat out wrong, and they could all just be tired. Specifically, Abhora and Victoria, they both seemed, almost, during this episode.
No, we're gonna storm into this place and we're gonna take their heads off.
Then, while everyone is asleep, Abhora takes the opportunity to give another one of her infamous deranged monologues. She says, "I'm really glad that I've made it this far, but I can't hope to make it to top 3, so I'm just gonna make the most out of this trip." This would be the second or third episode in a row of Abhora basically begging to be euthanized. In another episode, when she was up for extermination against Dolly, she said that she should have went home instead of Dolly, and I'll never understand girls asking to be sent home because you know you can just go home, right? There is no court order forcing anybody to go on Dragula. It is a choice to go on the show and a choice to stay on the show, and that's how I know Abhora doesn't actually want to go home. She wants people to think that she's humble because the other girls have been dragging her for being a meanie doo-doo head the whole season. But that's not gonna work on me because she's been a shithead since episode 1, and the only good thing I can say about her is at least she's been consistent.
Everyone wants to f me here. What's up with that?
You got the good.
I guess I am postpositively delish.
Excuse me, what?
I guess I am postpositively delish.
I'm sorry, come again?
I guess I am postpositively delish.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought you said. Israel then walks out of the woodworks, or the sandworks, to bring the girls to the makeup tent, and seeing Israel in so little clothes allows me to wonder how guys build bodies like this and then have no ass at all whatsoever. It is legitimately the most unattractive thing in the world to me to have a huge chest, huge biceps, huge thighs, huge calves, and no ass. I guess we're just working out all the useless muscles, I guess, but also how do you physically work out like your whole body except your butt? The gluteus maximus, like the butt muscle, is the largest like muscle group you have in your body, so like how do you do that? You have to be doing that on purpose.
Everyone's so nice, even though they look crazy and scary. Honestly, they're just here to have a good time.
Yeah, everyone here wants to
I'm down.
Like I said, this episode is a lot of them moving from one area and talking about bullshit to another area to talk about the same bullshit. So in the makeup tent, they have another fake deep conversation about the competition. Then James Majesty asks Victoria what she's worried about for the floor show, and Victoria says her wig because it's so big and it's so windy. We'll talk about it at the floor shoe, but she had zero reason to be concerned with the size of her wig. She should have been concerned with the way the wig looked, but we'll get to it.
I'm really excited about this concept we came up with for our performance of the Four Horsemen.
The girls talk about the concept they've chosen for the floor shoe performance, and they've chosen the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. So I'm going to skip straight to that so I can talk about how incredibly disappointing the execution was on the challenge.
What you want, bro?
What kind of driving's that, man?
One with a V8 twin turbo.
I don't give a fuck.
The beiles look great. I don't like what they're wearing personally, but the quality of the costume is much better than what they've been wearing in earlier episodes. They bring out season 1 winner Victor Von Odd as a guest judge, and they look great. Before we start on the contestants, remember that the theme is the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. First up is James Majesty, and she's supposed to be the Horseman of War, and I'm not really getting that at all. She looks like a post-apocalyptic slut, which is great. It just doesn't serve harbinger of the end times. The look isn't bad at all. It's just when you connect the look to a concept and then don't execute on that concept, it's gonna make the look a lot worse than it would be otherwise. Next is Victoria Elizabeth Black, who has a mohawk, and here's where I get to complain about mohawks in drag. I have personally never seen a mohawk in drag that doesn't make the performer look hokey and pokey. There was a time that mohawks were unique and cool, but they have long since been ran through. And this is Dragula. I want to see crazy, scary, cool, and this is nothing of the sort. This was boring, I don't like the makeup, and she was supposed to be the Horseman of Death, and that signified how? In what way? Okay. Up next is Bachelorette Pudisha Collins, who looks great. The wig is trash, and I love it. However, and you may have been able to see this coming, BP is supposed to be Pestilence, and in what way, shape, or form? If you don't know, Pestilence is like a biblical disease, and I guess you could argue she's wearing a mask, so that's kind of diseasey, but I'm not buying it. I love the look though, it's just a disappointment on the concept. Abhora's look I actually liked until I really got to looking at it, and then I noticed that it was very much a bunch of garbage. She was also supposed to be Famine, but there's nothing that really symbolizes that at all in the look, so she fits right in with the other four horsewomen of nothing. This episode actually ends off on a cliffhanger, but we won't have to hang on for long or at all because this season came out in 2017, so we're moving right on into episode 8, and if you want to see my review of that episode and episode 9, go to the Patreon and give the doll a dollar. So I actually had to do some research to figure out what it is that Monique did, because the show actually never uses the word racism, which pissed me the f*** off. The closest thing they said was when Abhora said that Monique hurt someone's feelings, which is so f*** f***ing juvenile. And what pissed me off even more was what the Boulay brothers said on the whole situation. They said that this is how Trump gets elected, because if someone fucks up, you terrify them and you don't get an opportunity to teach them how to grow. They also say that nobody's perfect and blah blah blah. Let's talk about why that's all bullshit. I've been your mother, and I'll catch you on the toaster strudel. Drag, 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 Dragula. Right, drag, specifically in the US, are so boring. Is so boring.